Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode at Pro Wrestling Straight Shooter. I'm your host and actually the only person on the show, Tats Teej. I want to talk a little bit today about the quote-unquote Divas Revolution. And I've told you guys before, I refuse to call the women's division the Divas division, but I'll do it for the sake of commentary in this particular instance. A few weeks back, Stephanie McMahon came out and had this bombshell announcement, blah, 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 we need change in the Divas division and women in sports and women in athletics and women in the military and women, empowering women, and I'm all about that, man. I've got a daughter and I want my daughter to grow up to be strong, independent, do her own thing, and fend for herself in this world. It's important for women to be able to do that and be empowered. And I salute Stephanie McMahon and Triple H for bringing women's wrestling more to the forefront with what Triple H has done down at NXT. And they used SummerSlam as kind of a springboard for this Divas Revolution, and I'm just getting the feeling that it's kind of fallen flat a little bit, and some of that may be due to the fact that Vince McMahon is still in charge of the main WWE roster, and at least in the last 4 to 5 years, he hasn't really put a whole lot of effort creatively, either from his side or whoever's in charge of creative, in building the women's division or the Divas division into something that's, one, meaningful and two, entertaining. You're looking at Nikki Bella, who, and I'll say this, when the Bellas first came out, for me, they were just eye candy on TV. Nikki Bella may not be technically the most gifted woman in that ring. However, she is one of the most evolved and most improved over the last 2 years. And while I don't necessarily agree with the length of her title reign, I get it. She's right now the female face of the company. But moving forward from there, it seems like, at least right now, the Divas division and this whole Divas Revolution is kind of a smokescreen for the fact that Nikki Bella's title reign is about to surpass that of AJ Lee. And there's a lot of things I could say about AJ Lee. I enjoyed her as a character, but I also think that at the time she was a big fish in a small pond. There wasn't really a whole lot of real good, solid competition. I mean, you had Nat by Nature, but they've used her sparingly, intermittently, in and out, in and out, in and out, and Beth Phoenix is gone. And beyond that, I can't really come up with anybody who was a really solid female contender over the last 5 years. I'm sure there's somebody, but, I just, nobody that I really gravitated towards as a fan and made me want to watch. Now, when you bring on the Sasha Banks and the Charlottes and the Becky Lynches, and, they're pushing Paige like $1 million, Alicia Fox can go in that ring, man. These girls really stand on the precipice of being able to make the women's division something that it could have been all along, because I think, quite frankly, some of them have the talent. And I take, for instance, at the NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, the Sasha Banks versus Bayley match. Absolutely just wow. Just wow. They booked it right. They gave these women plenty of time to go in there and just do what they do best and show the world what they can do. And I'll say this, and I told my friend this in talk because he hasn't seen it yet. I told him, well, you need to, if you watch nothing else on that show, watch that match, simply because from a technical aspect, it wasn't the most technically gifted match I've ever seen, but from a storytelling standpoint, it is simply one of the best matches I've seen in recent memory. And I don't just mean from the women, I mean in general. These girls went out there and told a fantastic story, and at the end of the day, that's what wrestling is about, and that's what wrestling fans care about. And that's where I think the Bellas, while they look good, and Nikki Bella, I said, as a performer, has improved, for me, she doesn't tell a story that pulls me in and gets me emotionally involved in the match. And that's what the Bayley-Sasha Banks match did. I mean, Bayley's the underdog, and Sasha Banks she's the legit boss. And she went out there, Sasha Banks, for my money, is the best heel female on their entire roster. I am so up on this girl right now as a performer, and that's hard for me to say because I hated her when she first came out, but she's completely made me do a 180 and rethink how I feel about her, not only as a character, but as a performer in that ring. But to go in there and she's just all over Bayley, and Bayley's the underdog. This is a classic wrestling story, and these girls sold it and told it as well as anybody ever could have. And I'm looking forward to them trying to do that in the quote-unquote main roster. Creatively, Vince McMahon and whoever he's got doing creative needs to get their hands off the women's division. They need to let Triple H, they need to let Stephanie fucking get in here and do their thing with these girls and just let them go at it. That's number one thing they need to do. Number two thing they need to do, they need to steer away from some of these tag matches. Everything's been a tag match, and some of it has been a tag match to prevent Nikki Bella from having to defend the title. And in my opinion, if you're going to put the women's division or the Divas division over, that title has to be defended. And people aren't going to buy a 200, almost 300-day title reign when you've only defended the title a half a dozen times in the last 12 months. It's hard to justify that as a believable title reign. So if somebody either, one, doesn't get that title off of her in a hurry, or two, she starts defending that thing on a regular basis, you are absolutely going to squash this entire Divas revolution that you have spent time, energy, and effort and tried to get everybody into. Anyway, I'm Taz Steeds. That's all I'm going to say about the Divas Revolution. Let me know what you think. Are you digging it? Do you have any other ideas as to things they could do better, things they could do differently? As always, thank you for watching my videos. If you like what I'm doing and you want to get in on the discussion, please comment down below. Check me out on Twitter, TatsHeel. Share it with your friends. Share it with your other followers. I'm trying to build this channel up into something that I think can be fun and can be interactive, but I can't do it without your help. Anyway, I'm out. Love you guys.